Hey guys, and today I'm going to be telling you about the best and worst part of every Robtop level. Keep in mind this is just my opinion, it's completely fine if you disagree with my choices. Also, if this video hits 10 likes, I'll do the same but for all the spin-off games. Anyways, enjoy the video. Mystery Madness, I'd say the red cube at 50% is the best part. It has generally better gameplay than the other cube parts in the level. But it's also a lot more difficult than the rest of the level, as it contains 2 triple spikes. The worst part is probably the last ship. Not including the coin route, it's overall very open and doesn't have very interesting gameplay. I give the first ship a pass for being open, but because it's the first ship in the entire game, but there's no reason this one needs to be this open. As for Back on Track, the best part is the cube at 66%. It honestly has pretty fun gameplay. The other cubes are generally a lot more basic and aren't as interesting. The worst part is definitely the ship. It's honestly more open than the last ship in Stereo Madness. At least in Stereo Madness you had to actually fly through real obstacles, but in Back on Track strip, you just go up and down for the whole thing. It's honestly really boring. The best part of Polargeist is the cube at 47%. Honestly, Polargeist's cubes are generally more boring than Back on Track. Not much else to say, it's just more fun than the rest. The worst part is probably the cube at the very end. It has such boring gameplay. It honestly feels like filler just to finish off the song. A really close second worst is the ship. There are just blocks randomly scattered throughout and it's really easy. I honestly had a hard time picking out the best part in Dry Out. It honestly feels like most of the parts are pretty even. I ended up choosing the first cube. It barely edges out the cube just after the upside down part in my opinion, but these two could easily switch in the future. The worst part is easily the ship. It's very similar to the Polargeist ship, which as I said was second worst in that level. Again, it's really boring. You just avoid a few blocks. Especially at the beginning of the ship, there are barely any blocks. There aren't even ground spikes. At least the second half has ground spikes, and the blocks are a lot bigger and harder to avoid. Base after base. The best part is probably the last cube. All the cubes are pretty boring in this level, but this one is probably the best of them. The worst part is probably the upside down cube. The deco is absolutely horrible, even for 1.0, and the gameplay doesn't help its score. Everything about this part is horrible in my opinion. For Can't Let Go, the best part is the upside down. It honestly has some of the most fun gameplay out of the first 7 levels. The only negative thing about this part, in my opinion, is that this part has a black background, so the blocks and spikes have 0 detail. The worst part is probably the ship. The end of the ship is similar to the one in Back on Track. You just go up and down without much else. In Jumper, the best part is this cube with all the gravity portals. It has very interesting gameplay. It feels way different from all the 6 other 1.0 levels. The worst part is, again, the ship part. It's basically the Polargeist ship, but with ground spikes, so I do think it's slightly better than that ship. It was pretty difficult to pick out the best part in Time Machine, but I ended up going with this cube part. It has sort of complex gameplay, and it's pretty fun. The worst part is the last ship. It's honestly really open and easy. The best part in Cycles is the ending ball. It is really fun and unique gameplay, compared to the first ball. And the worst part? Call me crazy, but I think the best part of X-Step is the last cube. It honestly has pretty fun gameplay compared to the other cubes. The worst part is, again, the last ship. Just like Time Machine, it's really open and easy. For Clutterfunk, the best part is the blue cube at 68%. The gameplay here is completely different from the previous levels, and even though it's in normal speed, it feels really fast-paced. The worst part is the second half of the second ship. The first half is amazing, but the second half, just like Back on Track, you just go up and down. It was hard to pick the best part in Theory of Everything. I ended up going with the second UFO. I know it's just Flappy Bird, but I couldn't find any better part. They're all pretty even. The worst part is easily the last ship. It again just feels like filler to finish out the song. In Electroman Adventures, the best part is the last mini cube. It has interesting gameplay, and just like Clutterfunk, it feels fast-paced despite being in normal speed. I actually like clubstep a lot, so it's hard to pick the best part. I ended up going with the ship at 85%. It has cool and unique gameplay. Electrodynamics is probably my second favorite main level. The best part is easily the first 3 times ship to the second 3 times ship. Both of these ships are amazing. Fast mini ship is so much fun. The worst part is easily the first cube. It's just not as good as the rest of the level because it's only in normal speed. The best part in Hexagon Force is the first duel. I really like how it's asymmetrical. You'd expect for the first duel it'd be symmetrical, but it's not, and that's what I like about it. The worst part is probably the mini UFO. It's kind of slow and boring, and it feels like filler, but not as much as the others. I think the best part of blast processing is the dual wave. I don't know what to say that hasn't already been said for the other levels. The gameplay is just more fun than the other parts. The worst part is the cube at 60%. It's really boring. Seriously, this gameplay feels like it belongs in a 3-star. The best part in Tow 2 is the second wave. This wave gameplay is amazing. 2 times speed is the perfect speed for this part. And the coin here is also amazing. Overall, this part is perfect. The worst part is probably the first cube. It's kind of boring to be honest. The rest of the level is just generally more fun. Controversial opinion for Geodome. The worst part, though, is easily the last robot. This is literally just filler to finish off the song. It is by far the least memorable part in the level. The best part in Deadlocked is probably from the ship at 17 to the cube at 28. Some of you might not consider this one part because it's 3 different game modes, but it's only 10%, so I think it's fine. The worst part is probably the last cube, but it's not even that bad. Deadlocked is the best main level in my opinion, so finding the worst part was actually pretty hard. And finally, Finger Dash. The best part is probably the wave. It's pretty fun on its own, but the coin makes it even better. I like that Rob used the mini coin gimmick for this wave, instead of like the ship, for example. The worst part is probably the last cube. It's not that bad, but it's still probably the worst. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Be sure to like and subscribe to see more content on Geometry Dash as well as other games. See you guys in the next video. Bye!